in Delmore there. Well, let's cross live to New York again, and this time speak to Thomas Hayes, chairman at Great Hill Capital. Thomas, it's so good to talk to you. I'm guessing you're seeing what the markets are doing. You've seen what President Trump has said. Give me your reaction.
Well, this is an absolute game changer, Miriam. And, there had been a lot of fear in the market the last few days. People were comparing this to the great financial crisis, to the tech wreck. And the difference between this and those two crises that took years to work out was this was man-made. So it could be fixed in a day. And that's exactly what we're seeing today. And the beauty of President Trump's strategy and what he's done throughout his years is he escalates in order to de-escalate. So now we had a big ask, and now we're down to 10%. The 10% across the board looks like nothing, and everyone is relieved. And in effect, that is a big accomplishment and goes a long way to balancing trade. And people now look at that as a very, very low bar. So they'll negotiate over the next 90 days. The key that the markets love is there's some rationality in the room. People generally believe the concept makes sense. Maybe they weren't in accordance with the execution. However, now we have the relief valve. And when it rains gold, pull out the bucket, not the thimble. There are things to buy.
Yes, absolutely. Thomas, tell me this, though. Some people are saying that this is America blinking. We've heard in the last hour or so from the Treasury Secretary, Mr. Bessent, who said this was his strategy all along. You kind of feel to me like you're saying possibly this is what the States, the America, wanted from the outset. But even if this is an amazing, clever ploy to get that 10% running along all those countries, surely the markets don't like this level of kind of, going up, going down, pushing, pulling, not knowing where you stand. That can't be good for anyone or anything out there.
Yeah, I've had more fun weeks in my investing career. I can tell you that right now. But I can say one thing. It shows a level of good faith. We've got to win that we're getting some imbalances fixed. The negotiations will probably go on longer than 90 days. And hopefully at some point, we'll get them on the phone between the U.S. and China and start to chip away at some level of balance. And then the market can go back to focusing on what? Focusing on earnings, focusing on cash flow, focusing on growth, focusing on employment. And all those things have been pretty good. People were just starting to extrapolate. If we stayed in this frozen period for too long, would it put us into a recession? And now that we've unfrozen it and we're going back to good faith negotiations, I think the market likes it. And now companies can start to make decisions again.
We just had some reaction from the future German Chancellor-designate Merz, who said Europeans are united on defending ourselves, and this shows that approach works best. Everyone's going to be claiming victory tonight, aren't they?
Well, that's the whole thing. If everyone can save face, and, a great deal is when no one is perfectly happy and everyone saves face. And if that's the case today, then today is a celebration. Let's get back to business. Let's get back to trade. If there's some imbalances that are going to be normalized over the next 90 days, let's get that done. And let's focus on growing and prosperity.
But what about the 125% tariffs on China? That's kind of a fly in your ointment there. And, China's backed itself into a corner, Thomas, right? How does it get out?
Well, there is that. But I think at some point, cooler heads will prevail. The signal is that if you're willing to come to the table, we have a rational administration that is willing to talk, and there will be some way for both sides to save face and begin a dialogue. Will it be tonight? Probably not. Will it be a week from now? We don't know. But I would assume within the next couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, the dialogue will begin, and no one will be happy with the ultimate outcome. They'll meet somewhere in the middle, and things will progress as planned.
OK, well, Thomas, it's great to talk to you. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak to us on BBC News.
Thank you so much.
Well, let's talk a little bit more now about that 125% announcement on tariffs on China. Let's speak to Scott Kennedy, Trustee Chair in Chinese Business and Economics at the Centre for Strategic and International Studies. Scott, good to talk to you. I know that we've only just heard this news of this 125% tariff on Chinese goods, but, the numbers are pretty much just numbers. There's a direction of travel here that we're seeing. How worried are you about that?
Well, the numbers have already gotten so high, it really doesn't matter if they go up anymore. U.S.-China bilateral trade